Gracious Father in heaven, it's another week we come to you. And we ask that you would be in the midst of this conversation, Lord. There's a lot of important things we got to touch on today, but Lord, there's some people here who are rolling with us and they need your blessing in their lives. And so we ask a special blessing on them. In Jesus' name, amen. Am I on? I am on.
I think so.
Yes, this is me. This is me trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Look, hey, how you doing? I'm here. Yes, and it's better when you have two of me than none of me. That's all I have to say. All right. Yes, it's your girl, Carmela Monk Crawford, editor of Message Magazine. I know that it doesn't look like I know what's going on, and I don't. Okay, so let's just talk here today. I'm glad to be here this morning with Barone Savori, Pastor Barone Savori. Look at him. Okay, don't just look at me. He's outside. He's out of doors with his hat on. How you doing, Pastor Barone Savori? What's going on?
Listen, this is the blessing of living in California. I am outdoors, but let me tell you why I'm outdoors. Not only do we have a decent day out here in California, but there was a planned power outage in my housing community. So everybody's power's off. I had to help a neighbor lift their garage this morning, like all different types of stuff are going on. But I had to be displaced for just a little bit. And those of you all that are parents, you know, it's 8 o'clock out here on the West Coast. So you all who might think that this isn't live, like I still had daddy duties. And so I had to go drop my kids off at school, make sure that they were good, give them a little breakfast money, you know, do the dad thing. And now I said, I need to find a place so I can get a message out to everyone across the nation, in the world.
Yes,
so
you know,
I'm doing well today.
I'm glad to see you. And you know what? I like how you describe that whole thing because that describes every working parent's life. That's the way it goes. We went to my son's basketball game last night. They had a blackout in the gym, which I thought was very interesting. And days gone by, blackout is like the precursor to a murder mystery. You know what I mean? You black out, everybody panics, the lights come on, and you're like, but no, everybody's got their phone now. There were so many flashlights in the gym that it was lit. They could have gone ahead with the game, but that's what I'm saying. We roll with it. That's my whole point, people. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm rolling with it today. Thank you for joining us on What's the Message. There's a lot going on. We want to talk about so many different things, but later on this very episode, we're going to be joined by John and April Nixon. Just John and April. They are regular columnists for us at Message Magazine, but you might follow them on Instagram. And they're going to talk to us on their latest installment called Your Total Intimacy, which under other circumstances, I might be a little shy to even introduce the topic, but they are really in it. So I'll just hang with us for a little bit. We got a lot going on though. Barone, what's happening? Several things that have caught my eye in the news recently. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not tempted at all to look at the Super Bowl. So you were, talk to me. Up, and he just went out, and I see David right here.
My.
David, you stepping in.
Listen,
this is a fun day.
I was, hi, I'm not Barone. He's the younger,
David,
more vibrant version.
David Harris is our online content manager. We got all kind of people in the background here. We got Philip Warfield, who's our producer for our podcast, and he's probably pulling his hair and beard out. But David, talk to us. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
No, I'm not into sports. No, I'm
No.
not. But I can tell you though that I did, because it is news when there is a halftime show.
Yes.
That I did, click the news item of the
Uh-huh.
halftime show, and Barone actually shared some of his thoughts with me a little while ago because we knew his, current would
Yes.
maybe go out, but he was talking about a lot of people thinking that this was like the best ever
Hmm.
halftime show. You can be
Yeah.
the judge of that because I'm definitely not the right one.
Uh,
But but also though, in the mindset of the American football concept, the NFL, there's something really interesting going on. And I see
yeah.
Philip's camera came on, but the Denver
Yes.
Broncos
Hmm.
was up for sale. And I guess we
Is.
can say was.
Oh,
uh,
really?
yeah, I mean, unless I missed something, did it all, was it already sold? Because I know Byron Allen was considering buying. I don't know if somebody already purchased it, yes or no, but he's the
Mm-hmm.
guy like on the top shelf, ready to go if it
Hmm.
hasn't already been purchased, and the price could reach. Are you ready for
Hmm.
this? I
What?
think I think you might need this in your bank account, Carmela.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Four, and I'm going to use a word that has a B in front of it, billion. 4 billion US dollars. And the
Yes.
key point is that he's suing McDonald's.
Hmm.
What? For discrimination. And
Hmm.
he alleges that the advertising budget for black media
Hmm.
outlets is $5 million. Now, I've been around since the 70s, and I
Hmm.
remember when their ticker was going up, how many persons fed at
Yeah.
McDonald's. So I'm thinking they can afford a lot more because their budget is
Hmm.
1.6, here's that B word again,
Hmm.
billion dollars. And the
For
CE,
advertising.
yeah,
For
and this
advertising
just
alone.
for that. That's what's reported. And so the CEO's salary is $11 million per year. So you
Hmm.
do the math and let
Hmm.
us know if that is fair. Fair or unfair? Go ahead and type it in the chat. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what's going on. And listen, if you all are giving keen attention to what's happening here, you can hear Carmela better than you did last week.
Uh, yes, you
Yeah,
can. I'm
yeah.
good. But David, we're talking about it because we think about these different issues and we're watching a lot of things. And, some of the things come across your desk. Some are shocking. Some are could induce fear. Some cause you pause. And the idea when you go back, if we roll back to the Super Bowl, especially with everything that's going on right now with a major lawsuit. They announced within the last day that the Super Bowl defense attorney, or the NFL, not the Super Bowl, but the NFL defense attorney, will be Loretta Lynch, the former Attorney General of the United States, a Black woman. And
Wow.
so there's a lot of conversation about her defending. Now, as a former defense attorney myself,
I'm glad you
you
said
know,
it because I was thinking about it.
you're
I'm
going to
glad you
say
said
that,
it.
but
Yeah.
many people have that sort of mindset. How can you defend this person? And so I'm going to say there's, reasonable minds could disagree on who you would give your expert services for and how you would work to defend them, because you believe in the system and that everybody deserves a good defense in the system, right? That reasonable minds sometimes have a problem with that. I happen to believe that there are instances where people need a defense, and I'd be willing to do that, especially when people's lives are on the line or their liberty is on the line. Now, defending the NFL, that's sort of a different thing for me. But I think people's ethics and their sense of duty could reasonably differ. We'll have to see how this works out as she defends them. My question to all of us, and last week when we had Pastor Dr. Deblier Snell on, the
Mm-hmm.
speaker director of the Breath of Life television ministry, as well as the senior pastor of Oakwood University Church. When we had him on last week, he reminded us that they have been very vigilant as they watch how the NFL has treated its players. Their focus started out, or I guess was renewed when Colin Kaepernick began kneeling at the national anthem.
Yeah.
And
And
so, but so the question now is, if you play or sing the Negro national anthem, does that change anything for anybody? What do you think, David?
Well, it changes something for somebody, but I guess who are they? Because I think there are always varying views, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, that is for the public to decide, really. Like,
Yes.
does singing the Negro national anthem
Mm-hmm.
really fix the issue? Or does it even begin to fix the issue that drives this aspect of the conversation? I think that's really what it is. It's not a matter of, finding something that could probably palliate somebody's, angst. It's what is the real issue, and would that hit the root of the issue? And I don't know that it would. I think it's, it would be an interesting contribution, but would it? Well, again, I think we have a chat box for that. I want you to type that in the chat. What do you think?
Singing the national, some people refer to that lift every voice and sing as a hymn. Yeah. And when I read the words, I think of it as a hymn. And I would love to see, more people other than just, people of African descent sing that, because it acknowledges the God who has led us through struggles, the God who has by his might led us into his light. It just seems like a cheapening, number one, of the song to play in an environment that would be seemingly hypocritical to some of the aims and the values. But, hey, I'm one of those people. I'm the first one to admit that I could take it or leave it because of everything that has happened.
Yeah. So, one thing I know, we're transitioning, but one thing that I know that Pastor Snell didn't mention last week, but I remember when the blackout was happening and he and some of his friends were participating there. They didn't just abstain from watching one of America's favorite pastimes, right?
Right.
They actively made contribution in community and to community during the time that they would have normally been consuming that media.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about abstinence, but it's about making a difference in your community. Yeah.
I think that's so important to maintain that. Well, David, you made a mention early on about my microphone, and that brings to mind our Black History fact for today. And, because I see how you have command of your microphone. Barone has his set up really nice too. I got a new mic, but I keep it off camera so I don't accidentally bump it or whatever like this.
Your mic sounds nice.
Good? Do I sound good?
Yeah, that was an allusion to my history. Yeah, yes. My mic sounds nice. Check one. You're supposed to say check one.
Check. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Don't be. You throw those things at me. You have to prepare me because I won't.
No. It's okay. We're together. That's why we're together.
Yeah, yes. That's good. The compliment, right? Well, look. Let's talk about James West, Dr. James West, which, we have James who is on our audio right now. But James West was a professor, or is a professor, of electrical and computer engineering and mechanical engineering. Now, his invention, right, he's a co-inventor of the foil electret microphone. Right? It's a type of condenser microphone. But catch this, 90% of today's microphones are based on that technology. This is a Black man, James West. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't. And I'm ashamed because, listen, there's a lot of food that has come into my household based on his co-invention self. Like his co-inventor self. Like I wouldn't have been able to eat for years. Recent years.
I see what you're saying.
Without that, because I have several microphones, and it's not just for fun. I mean, these are professions.
Yeah.
Like my microphones are used for different things that put food on our table, and also make an impact on the world at large. So big up to Dr. James West. He's one of our family, isn't he?
Oh yes, you know,
Yeah.
and what I like about this, you know, I pulled this a sort of a bio from Johns Hopkins University, what I think is interesting. Two things that I think is interesting because you know, we're not just celebrating him because he's one of many Black inventors, but it's the mindset that goes into the creative process, especially when you're an innovator and an inventor. So two things that he mentioned that I see in his nice bio that's interesting and instructive for me, right? One, he says, I like the fact that I'm not locked into where he works right now, you know, works at Johns Hopkins. He's not locked into one small niche. I wanted to be in an environment that allowed 360 degrees of vision, which I think is so key. Like I said, we were talking off mic about the brain and how the brain science of both innovation, creativity, and everything like this. And I am fascinated by companies like 3M, where they have that time where you can come aside and do what you want on company time, because they know when you have that free time, that time to create, it only helps the bottom line of the company.
Yeah, it is absolutely necessary. And I've heard
Mhm.
of a couple of others, Zappos and others who
Yes.
don't really they major on person development. Not
Yes.
even quote for the HR specialists around us, right? Not
Mhm.
only just employee development, but
Mhm.
like the person. Who is Carmela? Who is
Mhm.
Barone? Like who is Philip and James? These
Yes.
people, what would make them most fulfilled just
Yes.
generally? And how do we get, the positive blessing out of that into our particular brand, product, service, or whatever? So I think
Yeah.
it's a good thing, and I think we can learn a lot from it.
Investing in the people and letting them go. And my favorite that I learned was the company Patagonia. Do you know Patagonia?
Yes, I've bumped
You-
into them online. I don't know much, but yes.
Okay, well, they you know, they make all things, you know, surfing and, you know, on the beach and everything like this. And so there's a legend, and if anybody out there knows the real deal, let me know. There's a legend out there that says that the CEO and founder has a rule. It's almost a rule, but it's an expectation at this point. Everybody knows that if you are in a meeting, wherever you are in the company at whatever time, if you look out that window out there on the West Coast, Barone, if you look out the window and you see the waves are really on it, you can leave that meeting and with your board and hit the waves. And his
Listen, where do I
unspoken
sign
motto,
up? Like,
I
where do I
know, his
sign up?
unspoken motto is let my people go surfing.
Are you serious?
I am so serious.
Carmela,
This,
can I tell you, like,
yeah.
I saw somebody surfing where I am. Can I say where
Uh-huh.
I am? Like,
Please go ahead and say it.
listen, I'm in Jamaica. You know, I
Mhm.
know I talk like this, but that's where I am. And I
Yeah.
remember just a couple of weeks ago, for the first time, I saw people surfing in the parish called St. Thomas. Big
Hmm.
waves coming in, and there were multiple boards. It wasn't like they were like, oh, let me go find something.
Hmm.
These these guys were surfing. They were waiting for the evening tide to go
Yeah.
surf. But
Yeah.
I think it was less what you said about surfing and more about like, how can we meld the reality of our work lives with
Yes.
who we are and then get the best output? The happiest people on the planet where work is concerned are people who don't feel constricted and restricted by, unnecessary and arbitrary rules. So
Yes. Yeah,
that's a
that
good
makes
move.
that
Good
makes
move.
two of us, right? Two, you know, you have that autonomy. So yeah, I think, you know, the other thing I was going to say is that he is he's known for his support and mentorship of both women and all minorities in that innovative and creative space. And so when we want to see things progress and do well, those are the kinds of things that we support. So yeah, I love that. James West, Dr. James West. The other thing that I wanted to mention today, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, both Philip and David. Um, the news has continued to report. I've got in my hands Washington Post, CNN, a local station down in North Carolina, continuing to report it here in this Black History Month 2022, a spike in bomb threats, against our HBCUs. And I know Philip is there in doctoral studies at Howard University. I don't know, Philip, if you care to say anything about that, but I think it's how do you gauge the level of anxiety around something like this? And what do you think is at the seat of this?
Well, I think that's a multi-pronged question there, but I think that one of the most important things to remember is that people don't want us here. They've never necessarily wanted our institutions to thrive and succeed, and especially during Black History Month, these kinds of topics, they're tired of hearing of them. Why not just take us all out? It feels like, and so being, in the middle of the district, the nation's capital, we call it the Mecca at Howard University. We got a couple of emails this week, one of which was, hey, shelter in place. And the other one was, wait, we think it's all clear. And the next one was shelter in place. Yeah. We're all really just at a loss here of what to do. And we recognize the times that we're living in. We recognize that, once again, people don't want those of us to succeed, but we keep on anyway. We're just hoping that all of these false alarms don't eventually desensitize us into believing, oh, this stuff won't ever happen. Right. So got to stay vigilant.
Yeah. Right now, the FBI is taking everything very seriously. I take it very seriously, David. I mean, I think this is one of those things that we need not only for our community to take seriously, but this is not just a matter of prayer. This is a matter of us reaching across to other people groups and say, hey, look, we need your help watching, not, also being vigilant in conversations there. What am I trying to say? Where certain sentiments just spiral out. Don't you think?
Listen, the baseline of all of us is that we're human beings. Even if some people try to make it seem as if some other people group is not are not human beings, the fact is we are all human beings. And so if anybody is able to see the chilling graphic that I just saw of a map of the United States and little bubbles of the HSBCU names where the threats are taking place, and just be like, oh, well, and don't take the fact seriously that people don't care about other people's lives, let alone, as Philip would have said, it is Black History Month. And so this is, regardless of how this is happening and what's behind it, the fact is, like, somebody's making a statement to change the conversation. And the statement is hatred. It is inhumanity toward humanity, Black humanity in this case. But as the late Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. used to say all the time, like, this is a world problem. Okay. This is not based on one set of people. So if you're okay with what that news is saying, there's something terribly wrong. And
something terribly wrong.
Lord help us.
Yeah. And I think, the president, university president there at Howard, he says, we've had these kinds of challenges before. I think the noise is increasing, and we all have to stay not just vigilant, but also stay prayerful. And I think some things that you said, Philip, one person was quoted as saying in this story from North Carolina in particular, that the mere existence of Black schools, Black churches, Black political organizations, and Black businesses are a threat. And we see upswings in these attacks as backlash to Black resistance, the exercising of independent Black political power, and the influence of Black social movements. They are ways to put fear into the community. And so I guess what we are saying here today on What's the Message is that we're inviting the whole faith community, whoever you are, whatever your racial or ethnic background or how you identify as, we're inviting everybody to rally around the positivity, the resilience of these institutions, and keep them in prayer and faith. That's what we're going to continue to do here at Message. So look, yeah, I know it's deep, but these are the kinds of things that we have to be on top of, especially even among the Christian circles. I think that's very important because the narrative right now for so many people is that you don't have to talk about race. In fact, let's clear the shelves of anything that people would say is divisive. You cannot get more divisive than the hatred that is propelling these kinds of threats. You cannot get more threatening than that. So we're going to keep pushing on, David. Go ahead.
Yeah. The thing about it is, I may be able to understand at least the pure hearts who would say something like that, the ones who really mean and intend well. But the fact is, not just in the 1700s, but in the 1700s, like the concept of separating and dividing and conquering, whether it be skin hue, whether it be so-called race, whether it be ethnicity, or whatever it is that can divide, but most of the time it had to do with race. They sold that thing so well around the world.
Yes.
That you really can't. Like, I have an ideal in my mind. I wish we didn't have to either, because we're all sons and daughters of the Creator and the first people that He created. But the fact is, the divide and conquer thing still happens. And if it still happens, then we need to address it. Sweeping it under the rug is not addressing it.
Right.
It's just not. So Lord help us all, really.
The pervasiveness and permanence of racism indicates to every believer that on this side of heaven, this is going to be a struggle that we all have to not only educate against, but strive for the mastery ourselves. Anyway, we're talking so long and so deep. We just got the rest of the show. Like I said, we got John and April Nixon here. And this week, we're talking about Black love. I don't know if you all noticed my beautiful flowers from my own Valentine this week, but John and April Nixon, aren't they beautiful? And it has a very big balloon at the top. So anyway, we're going to be back after this break. And we're hoping that Barone will join us here at the end of the show. But we're coming back with a conversation with John and April Nixon, your total intimacy. We'll be back after this. That's right. Look, we got people coming up standing, on deck. Just John and April. You watch them on their podcast. You know them because they author our relationship column that is newly branded and newly named Your Total Intimacy. Everyone welcome John and April Nixon. Yes.
Hi guys.
Hey, good morning, beautiful people. I always love to see you. You look so nice, Miss April, with your hair. I like that.
We want to come fresh for you today. Come with a whole new look.
Anyway, go ahead.
Well, look, Camilla, I got to tell you, some great memories of my life happened with these two people who have been in love with each other since I have met them. I mean, just incredible people. I just love them. Now, here's a fun fact. The only hole in one in my life that I have ever gotten on the golf course was with this man, John Nixon, right here. When we played together. We played golf together.
You just wanted a witness.
I needed a witness because, and John is a believable person. So if John Nixon says it, they say, okay, all right. It really happened.
It actually happened.
And that is a testament to who you all are as people. You are honest, genuine people. And I'm excited that you're here with us this morning.
Glad to be here. Thank you again.
Glad to be here.
What happened to your life there, Barone?
Yeah, you know what? I think it turned on. Let me turn this thing back on. What's happening? Oh, there we go. There we go. That's better.
That's not even right. But, I wanted to start with something, but I saw that Donna put in the chat that she watched the podcast last night, and I shouldn't say all this.
Donna was definitely in the comments, so we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
She had to undertake a practicum. I'm like, oh my, clutching my. I don't wear pearls, but if I did,
our topic last night was a little bit,
Yeah,
for married couples only.
We got a little real last
Yeah,
night.
we did.
What are you talking about?
Foreplay, stepping up your foreplay. Yeah, so
There it is.
It was really discussing the way men and women think of foreplay differently, and we have totally different things in mind.
How it looks for men, how it looks for women.
Yes,
and
it was good. It was fun.
How both parties need to step it up.
Exactly. Yeah, so it was good.
Hallelujah.
Look, they're out here trying to help people win, and that's what I love. That's what I love. Trying to help both sides win.
That's right.
Yeah, man, win.
Blessing. You know what I'm saying? Well, let me tell you something. I know the most recent issue of Message has your column. So there's two questions right here. One, you wanted the new name or the new approach to be Your Total Intimacy. What's up with that?
Okay, so we think that people have a particular thing in mind when they think of intimacy. Most people hear that word and think about the bedroom, and that's it. And what we teach is that the bedroom can be better, but it will never be better if you don't deal with the other aspects of intimacy that most people don't think about. So spiritual intimacy, emotional intimacy, connection, and things like that. All of that comes way before the thing we think about, which is physical intimacy. So when we say your total intimacy, we just want you to question what could they possibly mean by that? There must be something more than just the physical part. That's the idea. There's a whole package of things that goes along with this.
We teach that the spiritual coincides with the physical.
It feeds it.
It feeds it.
Yeah.
And we can't separate. We cannot separate the two.
Right.
We cannot separate the two.
Okay, can we park right there?
Okay, so here's what we say. We say sex is actually just physical oneness.
Okay.
So it's a physical sign of a spiritual reality.
And the spiritual reality is
spiritual oneness.
Yeah. And so usually when people hear spiritual reality, they say, oh, well, that means you need to pray together more and have Bible study together. Yes, we believe that's true. You should take time together with God.
Yes.
But it's really about the practical. How are you treating each other?
Right.
You know, if the Bible says love one another, the Bible's even talking about
right, exactly.
between the two, even your spouse.
Even your
it's
spouse.
Not just the stranger on the street.
Right.
So that spiritual one is how are you treating? How are you talking to each other?
Yeah.
How are you considering one another on a daily basis? And if that's off, the bedroom is going to be off as well.
And what we also teach is that when the emotional and spiritual oneness is strong, that's when the physical oneness is most enjoyable.
Exactly.
So it really doesn't matter what things you're actually doing in the bedroom. That's not really true. We talked last night about how setting the atmosphere is important and all of that. But what we mean is, even if you did all that, if you didn't have the spiritual oneness intact, it would not impact the physical oneness as much. So that's kind of what we mean when we say your total intimacy. It's not just about the bedroom. There's intimacy that's happening way before then. And if you're constantly working on it, it makes the bedroom so much more enjoyable.
I love
So I have a question. I know that during the pandemic, a lot of couples had to spend a lot more intimate time with each other in the same space.
Yes.
And they learned a lot of different new things. What were some of the things intimacy wise that you and you all together learned about each other, having to be locked up in a house for several months together, 24/7? What are some of the things that you learned about each other? Or did you know everything already?
We did not know everything already. I think we thought we knew each other better than we did.
I think we thought we did.
I wouldn't say that. Yes.
Let's say this. We learned more about each other.
Yes.
During the quarantine.
And more about ourselves.
Yeah. I really did not think that John ever needed alone time.
Right.
Because
wait. Did you think that he was an extrovert all the time, and you discovered that he had more? Oh, okay.
Yes,
all right.
He is.
But the assumption was because I'm an extrovert, I never need alone time, and that's
got it.
We
and
discovered
during the quarantine,
together.
I realized, wow, I think he takes alone time when I'm at work. Like I don't know, I don't see, I don't get to see him taking that time. And during quarantine, I mean, I see him taking time, like to go play golf and stuff like that, but not needing time away from us.
Right.
Which we all know in the family that I need that.
Right. Everybody knows April. She's an introvert.
I
so
need my time,
that's part of
right?
it. Right.
Yeah.
But I've never seen John like wanting to just be by himself.
Right.
And
I think when I first
showing me that,
right, I was showing it because I didn't know how to say it without hurting her feelings. And
so we went through me feeling like he was pushing me away.
Right.
When really he needed some time. It was, a lot of time with us just all being in this one space.
Yeah.
And
that created a new discovery for us. And the new discovery was we're not as honest with each other as we think. Now, April and I have never lied to each other. My wife can tell when I'm lying. So there's no point in even doing it. So we don't lie to each other, but that doesn't mean we're always honest with each other.
Right.
And the kind of honesty we committed to was the type that would allow for pure vulnerability, even in the face of, I might get hurt by sharing what this is that I want to say to her, or I might hurt her by saying this, even though I'm not trying to be hurtful. And I think adopting this new attitude of complete honesty, I think that's one thing that came out of the pandemic that was helpful. We realized
guys,
we've been holding back.
Not just helpful, like amazing.
Life-changing.
Like it took our relationship to the next
really
level.
did.
Like I'm grinning because I'm like, it has been so good to finally be able to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, and we've been honest,
Right.
but I'm talking about,
we don't lie, but
I'm
we have been
talking
honest.
about true honesty where I can say things that I feel like is going to really hurt him.
Right.
But I need to say it.
Right.
I would hold back those things. Like
Right.
I'd say a little bit and then just keep those real harsh things that I feel would really,
But we've sort of given each other
So-
permission
so
now. to
given
say,
us, we've given that
just
space for
be
each other.
honest.
Yeah.
It really sounds like you all have transcended it to another level. We talked about garlic in the previous section. There's an onion that we're talking about now. You peel
Peel that
down to
joint.
another layer
yeah.
of the onion.
We did.
Listen.
That it requires like mature, it sounds like immature relationships could not handle the level of honesty. So how did you, what was the maturing process like? And I know we only got a few minutes, and I know that Carmela, you probably have some questions, but I'm just fascinated because I just love you both. The maturing level, the maturing level. How did you actually work up who started this? Who started the next layer of the onion?
Okay, so
honest
let me
conversation?
tell you what happened. John actually was watching Miss Kev on stage. I don't know if you guys watch her show.
You know Kev on
Love,
stage and his wife, Love
Oh,
Hour.
Love Hour,
okay.
the Love Hour.
Yeah.
So he was watching the Love Hour and he was like, he sent it to me. He texted me the link.
So I don't watch this. Somebody else sent it to me because they know we have a show. And they were like, what do you guys think about this? And I happened to watch it before April. And I was like, babe, this is revolutionary. I sent it to her.
And I watched, I was like, whoa, I've never thought about it like this. And then we came to each other and talked. We're like, you know what? Based on what she was talking about, we've never been honest with. We've never been totally honest.
She gave three things. She said
she
transparency, vulnerability, and was it honesty? Was it honesty, transparency,
and vulnerability? Yes,
she was just saying that that's the kind of communication she wants to have with her husband. And she was, they've been married around the same amount of time as we have. And she was confronted with the idea that she's not usually following those three things when she's talking to her husband about something. Honesty, transparency,
So let
and
me give you the
vulnerability.
example she gave. She said, like, if her husband's going out of town again for work, like he's been going out of town every week and they haven't been together a lot. She said, usually we will respond with a,
You
are
going
you
out of
going
town
out of town again? How you gonna be going again? It's been 3 weeks, whatever, right? She said, but what you're really wanting to say, what you don't want to say because you don't want to be hurt. So you protect yourself by saying it in a defensive way, hostile way.
Yeah.
But what you really want to say is, I really miss you.
And I like our time together.
And I
wish you wouldn't travel
wish
so much.
I wish we
could
could
have so much time.
Yes, I wish we could have some time.
Right.
That's what she really wanted to. That's what she's really feeling.
But if he
you
said
say
to
that
her,
and he says,
please, we
girl,
get enough
I'm
time
going
together. Now she's rejected.
So you protect yourself
Right.
by not really being totally honest.
Right.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I so do that.
So that's transparent. This is how I'm feeling. You're
Yeah.
vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there and saying,
I'm willing to get hurt.
Yes.
I'm willing to hear him say, babe, please, we spend plenty of time together. That would hurt.
right.
I am putting myself out there to get hurt like that so that he can hear exactly how I'm feeling.
Now, this came about in our time together because I think we got to a pressure point in our we were together 24/7, couldn't go anywhere. This is at the height of the pandemic. So you're talking about last year.
And I was really
before
strict.
vaccine. April was very strict.
Very strict.
Yeah, we were all very safe and, making sure. So I was the only one that would leave the house to go get groceries and come right back. And when I would come in, I'd have to go to the front door, take off all of my clothing. April would put it in the washing machine immediately. She would clean off all the groceries. I'd go upstairs and shower. It was a real regimen like that. So we're talking about nobody leaving the house. Mm-hmm. And it became a situation where it was like, this is not going to work unless we figure something out.
And our true selves came out.
Yes.
Oh man.
Wow. It really was a whole nother.
Yeah. We got forced into it. Is what we're saying.
So it was good. We're thankful now. Let
me ask you one last question. I know we're keeping you much longer than we thought, and we're going to explore some more.
So good.
It is so good. I love it. And I love you guys. I love your little.
We love you guys too, man.
Me too.
Like that. So beautiful. Okay, so here's my thing. You talk about being together, then the forced togetherness and all that sort of thing. But let me back up. So you talk about the three things that she was talking about. I'm reading a book that talks about when you get stuck in something, the three elements that you want to work with are complexity, unpredictability, and what was the other one? Complexity, unpredictability, and risk. Right?
You need to share that book. That sounds good.
That book.
So good. It's called The Art of Impossibility.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I can't stop. I'm finished with it.
I'm about to write
I'm
it down.
supposed to take it back to the library, and I can't do it because I have all these sticky notes on it. That's what I want to ask you about burnout within relationships. Because, if you can get stuck in work, like I do sometimes, and it's like I'm, beating my head against the desk. I'm like, this is so this, it stands to reason that our relationships can get in that little space. What are we going to do?
Relationship burnout. I think that's real.
It is.
I think we were at the brink of it during the pandemic, to be honest with you. And there were some things that we decided to do that I think helped. One was to create boundaries with each other that were healthy. So we don't actually have to spend every moment together. There are times when we can go to different parts of the house. So what we ended up doing, this room that we're in right now became April's classroom. Everybody knows she's a middle school teacher, so she would teach from here. I would do all my meetings from the basement. We set up John's room a certain way and Julia's room a certain way so that all four of us could have our own separate space to be in during the day. And then we could come together for like lunch or dinner. And we had time together as a family.
We knew that 8:00 was movie night. Like every night we were watching movies.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We knew 10:00, after the movie, we'd have our family worship, and we just stayed up late. Like we knew this is what was going to happen.
Right. We April and I would go for walks during the day, but for us, the predictability of the schedule made it feel more like what it used to feel like when we would go to work. And I think that helped us to kind of be like, okay, all right, now I can get my time. And so if I don't want to come out of my basement area yet to go see everybody, I don't have to. I can stay down there for a while to get my alone time that I need to get that recharge, to get back. That actually helped us a lot.
Yeah, and we talk about self-care. I think sometimes, there's relationship care as well.
Yeah.
But I think taking that time to work on what you need to work on for yourself, like if you need some self-care in order for your relationship care to work out, then you need to take that. Another thing we decided was after we got back into the hustle and bustle of, going to work now, back into this, that's a whole nother stage that we had to go through. And so we decided, we said, you know what? We don't care. We are going to have every week we're going to get a full body massage.
Which we've been doing now.
Separately, like not a couples massage. Right. Separately, we're going to do that.
Right.
And when we come back, we're so relaxed. It's like, and being able to let go of control. For myself, I realized me trying to control everything, that actually puts strain on the relationship.
Right.
We don't realize that those types of things, the stress that we put on ourselves actually causes stress within the relationship. So we decided to say no to certain things that we were doing before we don't do anymore.
Yeah.
As just John and April, we decided we're not doing those things anymore. We're going to say no to those things. That helped us. The massages, self-care, being able to get away and then come back. Those are the types of things that we did to help with the relationship burnout. And that's
I think it helped us too. Yeah.
We got to run.
We on fire now.
Huh?
We're not burnt out no more. We're on fire now.
Oh yeah, we're on fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotta go. I'm sorry I held you a lot longer, and we just gotta go now. But thank you. We'll be around. They'll be back every month. They're always in every.
I love it.
Just like Donna, every issue of Message Magazine. Thanks a lot. We love you all.
We love you
too.
guys.
Thanks, John. Thanks, April.
Right.
Good to see you
By the
all.
way, Baron's our son's godfather, just so people
That's
know.
true.
We're very close.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, well, he's established your credibility already. So regarding the accuracy and the veracity of his holy son. Thank you so much. Hey, we've had a great day. This has been a day full of some insights and some powerful words from John and April Nixon. I love talking to them and love talking to you. I see you all in the chat. I see you, Ron Pride. Thank you for your comments.
Call him out.
I'm calling him out because everybody here in production is like, what are you talking about? No, I'm the one that's saying, what are you talking about? If you don't know, you're on YouTube, go ahead, see what he has commented. I appreciate you for participating. Look, there's lots to be said here. Maybe I'm not the one to say it, but the brothers who are on this line are agreeing with your comment of the giving thanks in those moments of intimacy. John and April are teaching me how to be more forthright and honest in my conversation. And I'm taking from the nodding of your heads that that's a good thing, right?
Yes, it's appropriate. If you have a Bible that has Songs of Solomon in it, then you just have to, decide if you want to read it or not. It's right there.
Read the word.
It's there.
Read the word.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you all for rolling with us today. Black love, we talked about it. We talked about how to come together. And listen, every issue of Message Magazine has John and April in it, your total intimacy. And if you are working toward a relationship, you're not there yet, you're not in the married space, but you're looking for that lifelong partner, you want to be ready, that's a column you need to read. And it's not just them, it's finances, it's optimal health, it's Bible study, and it's just us on this journey together, whether it's through social justice or any other issue. That you need a community, you need family, and that's what we are here. So I'm glad that you joined us. Don't forget to like and follow and share, especially you're going to get it on the playback. Make sure that people are listening and are part of this community. So we thank you for joining us. Next week, we got a special guest. We were hoping to have them last week, but next week we're talking about voting. What do we do now? It seems like the clock is being rewound and forces are completely retrenched and aligned around the idea that certain people should not have it so easy to vote. This after years of voting rights, both legislation and marches and protests, and now we're rewinding the clock. So we're going to talk about that again next week with our religious liberty and public affairs writer, Edward Woods, and some folks on his team. And so Barone, we'll see you again. And we want to talk about with the CEO of Adventist Healthcare, Terry Ford, and he's going to talk to us about some of the history and how, as a corporation and institution, they've turned the corner on some negative past. How do you do that in a corporate environment? I hope you'll join us again next week. And when we come back, same time, every week, Thursday, What's the Message? Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.